Go back before I had my heart condition, because I was at a place in life where I feel like I could take on the world. I'd go back there and I would tell myself to enjoy the little things, because when the big horrible things come, they just black out everything and you miss all the little things. You miss the little moments of joy.
This is one of those where nothing I say now will prepare you for the story that Adam's about to share with us all. It's unbelievable, the life challenges that Adam's had to navigate to get to where he is today. He's going to share them with us. In his business, he's a creative designer, and mind-blowingly amazing some of the stuff he comes up with. So please do subscribe, do sit down, do sit tight, and please do enjoy this episode with Adam. Adam, welcome along onto the Digital Circus Life, the small business podcast. As always, we've got to start at the very, very, very beginning. And that is, what are you trying to achieve right now?
Oh, that's a tough question. It's been an interesting few years. And as you know, I've had some ups and downs. I think, in all honesty, I'm trying to achieve happiness for myself. I've been trying to achieve things for other people. I've been trying to make a success out of business. And I found that life gets in the way of those plans. The universe works in the ways that you wouldn't always want. And so realistically, as I was sitting down here today, some form of happiness, some form of resolve, as it were. My business journey has been up and down. My life journey has been up and down as well. And I think there's a lot of focus on trying to achieve some sort of financial or status success, when in all honesty, I just want to be happy. It's been tough, and I just want to get past that toughness and just be happy, as it were. I hope that's not too wishy-washy for you.
No, that's really not.
spot on.
And for the benefit of anyone who doesn't know you, Adam, do you want to just kind of, in a whistle stop, tell us how the last year has been for you? Because it's quite essential, I think, to give context to why this is what you want to achieve at the moment.
So I've got a heart condition, which has caused me to have a few ups and downs and trips to hospital and things. It's not been stable for the last couple of years, and just recently, over the last few months, I'm on new drugs, which have proven to be quite stable. I've recently moved as well, so I'm in a nice, fantastic new place, and it's one of those things where I've now feel I've got the opportunity to perhaps be creative again, not so heavily business focused, but just being focused on delivering stuff that's going to make me happy, helping others along the way, but essentially it's going to make me happy and sustain it for me. It's giving me that drive again. And yeah, having a year where there's a risk of going in and out of hospital constantly and not being able to consistently focus on business has been a bit of a mental battle, but that's all seemed to have subsided for now, which is good.
And that's really, really great. I'm really glad to hear that.
We're glad you're well.
We are really glad you're well. And in the nicest way, with our running joke, Adam, glad you're not dead.
Yes. You add in context, because it's an in-joke. Emily sent Adam a voice note on Instagram going, Adam, just checking, are you dead or alive?
Well, I do. But
It's one of those
something
things.
we've had. Sorry. Yeah, it is.
I was going to say, it's one of those things where it's become a joke now, because there's been so many sort of medical scares, and they're so gravely serious, but there's that joke of like, I have to make a joke of it, essentially. I think it's bringing in the realistic fact that, and I don't want to be on a down note here, we're all going to die. We've all got ups and downs in our lives, whatever form they're going to manifest in, whether it's going to be a health-based one or an economical one. We have to make light of these dark and tough situations, I think. And yeah, inappropriate amounts.
No, it does. Can we go back to the whole happiness thing? Because that has been not a theme necessarily, but it definitely gets touched upon on this podcast. I mean, I touched upon it on mine, which we were talking about before we started. Yeah. So what does happiness look like for you if you're trying to achieve? And we discussed there's a huge difference between achievement and success. If you're trying to achieve happiness, what does it look like? How are you going to know if you're there?
I think happiness is where you're excited to get up in the morning. I mean, a lot of people, we've probably all worked in jobs or industries where getting up for work doesn't necessarily put a smile on our face. And it's only when we get to a stage of perhaps a career or family that we're happy to get up or something like that in the morning. And even then, it's not always guaranteed. And so it's one of those things where it's excited to get up and chase the day, as it were. That seems to be in somewhat perhaps a young person's game, or we perhaps get bogged down with the responsibilities of life. But for me, it's actually thinking, right, what can be done today? What can I achieve that's going to creatively inspire me, that's going to help others? That's what's doing it for me, is wanting to get out of bed and wanting to do something.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, and I think you kind of answered this, but that has to / can link into your purpose, which is kind of what you were sort of covering at the end. So, and these do all sound like buzzwords. What is happiness to you? Have you discovered your purpose? And it's they're asked. I'm asking them in a very kind of carte blanche manner. So, Adam, have you discovered your purpose yet? But it's trickier than that, isn't it? It isn't as simple as going yes or no and thinking about it.
But I think, especially with your journey over the last 12 months and beyond that, because this has not just been the last 12 months, this has been going on for a little while now, Adam, it's really tough, isn't it, though? Because when things ultimately out of your control stop you from doing that thing, it's really flipping frustrating, because you have no way. Your body's going to do what it wants to do at the end of the day, isn't it? And we are all going to have those things, insert whatever that is, whether it be a health thing or a dependent or
something derailing that current
derails
direction.
You. Yeah. How do you get out of bed again in the next one? Okay, right, because you have no plan B. And this is what I kind of always love about these conversations with that when we have all of our lovely entrepreneurs we speak to. For us personally, as Alan and Emily, we have no plan B. This is what we're doing. We're 2 feet in. This is what we want in life. This is what we want to do.
Sometimes I think about a plan B.
But when you do get derailed, you have no choice but to forge ahead. So how do you do it?
For me, and I'm not going to say I'm good at it, because I've been in some dark days and I've been in some tough spaces. I enjoy helping other people. And I think that's a fundamental core aspect of just being human, regardless of what we're doing for work or industries and things like that. We like it when other people are happy with the results that we get for them, or their lives are improved by our actions. And for myself, that's been the driving force. I've not quite known my purpose or direction, because the universe, life, took that direction away from me, and I've struggled to get on this new path that's been chosen for me and identify this is who I am and this is what I do, because it hasn't aligned with what my vision was. But along that way, I've been able to meet people that have also gone through their own struggles and are also trying to find their footing, whatever the situation might be for them. And I've been able to say, I can perhaps help here, or I can perhaps help there. And I think that's what it is that is enabling me to be able to do that, essentially, and enabling me to actually want to chase it and want to keep going, as it were. I think it's with the support of others, whether you're supporting them or they're supporting you. I think that's probably what it comes down to.
And I think that's such an amiable and really sort of amazing trait of yours, Adam. So we've known you for a good few years now, or a good few years actually. And
it was a good old Instagram voice note, wasn't it?
It slipped into the DMs. I think, was it 2019?
And I love how
like
fortuitous these kind of relations can be when you don't expect them. They come out as a complete curveball. But Alan first met you in person at an in-person event that you set up in Southampton, which was called Whiskey and Work, which was a space for men to get involved and have conversations, which I thought was incredible.
Men-only networking. God forbid, Adam. God
Let's
forbid.
not go down that line.
Luckily, Adam did not get unbelievably attacked on his LinkedIn.
#MeToo.
Then, so that was the first instance that we got, and I loved everything about that and why you had gone and put yourself out there to run that event. And then a few years later, we connected again on the Abri program, the creator program, with your absolute desire to help as many other small business owners who were struggling at that point and needed that extra support. And you were championing those business owners to really kind of step in, to mentor, to support, to give it your... And again, it just, as I see that across the last few years, that is clearly your core driver, is to be of service and to help and to be that sounding board. And I don't always... You're very selfless in that. You don't expect other people to do that for you.
Right. No, yeah. So I was sorry. I wanted to kind of... Which then comes back to your purpose and happiness, right? So can I also wanted to add in that Adam and us and Adam, whatever, we've done a few projects together, including that Yellow Magic Hour, the Digital Circus Live, and whatever else we've worked on over the past few years. But one of the things sitting in my head as I'm listening to you talk, Adam, or we're doing the talking, Emily, is your happiness and your purpose. Yes, it is being slightly adjusted. I'm trying to think of a really nice word, by your very, very serious life events. But you seem quite clear on your purpose. And if your happiness is linked to your purpose, I'm going to be brave here. Are you not happy?
So if I'm honest, I've been living a duality in that sense. There's a large part of me which isn't happy, and that part of me which isn't happy, if I'm brutally honest, is where I had a heart condition, I had a serious change of life direction, and because that was out of my control, I'm a little bit of a control freak. I like to be able to make sure I can do what I want to do, and because my life direction was taken out of my hands, and I'm now on this different path. It's caused me to live a duality of wanting to be the best I can be under a whole load of limitations that are imposed on me by just life itself.
Yeah.
And I wasn't accepting of those limitations. I'm still struggling to accept those limitations. And that's caused me to go into binge eating, depression. It's caused me to be a little bit of a recluse, not getting out there. I mean, I struggle physically getting out and about, but that duality of life, and I think we all live that duality of life, and we just don't often share it unless we've got a partner. They might see those sort of aspects of those traits and things, and so there's a large part of me, if I'm honest, where I'm not happy, and I need to find a way to get myself on a path that I can be, and it's aligning myself with the direction life chose for me, and it's a long struggle, and I'm just starting to come around to that now, but that's been 4 years or so, that life direction taken away from me and given me a new path. And I think it's probably the same with a lot of people. If they were suddenly able to do a number of things in their life and had control over their life, and that was taken away, there's a hesitancy, there's a rejection, and that manifested, in perhaps depression, overeating, and not being able to manage my own life. And I thought, what can I do? I can help other people with their lives. And so I used that as an escape. It wasn't necessarily solving my problems, but it was taking me on a path around back where I need to be now, essentially.
Yeah.
It's taken a long way around, as it were.
Yeah.
Scenic route, not the long way.
Scenic route, yeah. I've gone down the scenic route, yeah. A couple of times in Club A&E along the way.
So then that brings me back into kind of one of my favourite questions I like to ask in these chats. Where does all this come from? When did this all start? This kind of wanting to help people, connecting with people, and everything you're talking about. Where did all that come from?
So it came, unfortunately, from a dark place for myself. I mean, so for years, I had an off-on relationship with my mother. She was a creative. It's where I get my creative traits from, and back in 2014, she ended up taking her life, and that ruined my world, as it were. I mean, I understood the harshness and realities of life, but when an impact like that happens, it completely shook up my world, and it put me in a dark place I hadn't been before. And with my mum, I know that she really wanted to be a successful creative. She wanted to run her own business. She had the talent for it, she had the skills and the creativity for it, and the hardships of life beat her down in some regards. And that guilt of not being able to help her, and also I was in my early, mid-20s and things like that, I hadn't really had the skills to be able to manage life. I couldn't help her. And that guilt of not being able to help and not helping her in some regards, is what sort of spurred me on to wanting to help other people. We all go through life not knowing the difficulties of what the person next to us is going through. And that kind of made me realize that if I can't help my mum creatively, perhaps I can help other people. And so that spark was ignited back in probably 2014, didn't really come to fruition until 2015. And so that seed was growing all the way back then, about 10 years ago, effectively. And then when I ended up being on my own freelance journey, that's when it really manifested itself. That's when I noticed I had avenues and skills where I could actually help those individuals and help people. But yeah, it came from a dark place, but I think that's often where a lot of people, there's something that impacts their lives, and that's what gives them the opportunity to grow, as it were.
And I think it takes a massive character to accept the dark place and see the light at the end of the tunnel with that in whatever way that could be in order to kind of reframe it. You can't change the past, and it's horrible. It's nothing you ever want anyone to have to go through what you had to go through as a son. But being able to stand there and go, okay, this has happened to me. What can I do for good, not evil, in terms of in being able to really stand there. And ultimately, you had that spark in 2014, and that came into fruition in 2015. That's very quickly after that had happened to you, to be able to have that drive to do that. So it's really to be applauded, really, of how you've got that mentality to go, okay, I'm on my own 2 feet, right? I'm going to try this new path, and also to do that as a freelancer.
Well, that's my next question, actually.
Did you always want to be freelance, or
because employment would serve some of your challenges a little bit simpler at times? Let's be brutally honest. So, what keeps you in this world?
Well, when my mum passed, I literally started a new job. I was 6 weeks into a job where I finally got onto that creative ladder. I worked in sales because it was the first work I could get after university, and it was one of those things where I'd suddenly got a job in the creative career. I had this huge thing that happened to me. I was in a dark place for quite some time, but that creative career let me sort of manifest any of those dark thoughts and feelings into actual positive things. It wasn't until 2019 when I left my creative work that I was in. The company I was working for let go loads of staff, and I decided to leave there. And it was one of those things where I was thinking to myself, well, I'm just going to go and get another job, because I even today, I miss those regular monthly paychecks. And it had great stability in my life. But it wasn't until 2019 when I had the cardiac arrest and I realized, okay, life's short. Let's just go down the freelance route and see what happens. I mean, what's the worst that can happen, I thought. And then 6 months later, the pandemic. So it was an interesting first year. But I genuinely miss those regular monthly paychecks. It's a form of discipline. But the other thing is that fear of not having it is a great motivator as well.
Yeah, it really is.
That really does sort of light a fire under you and make you go, how are you going to be able to afford next month? What can you do? Yeah. And it's just like, well, I've got these design skills, or I've got a camera, I can do this. And it makes you sort of get out there and get on the way, as it were. And I think people find comfort in the routine of having those regular sort of paychecks and safety net. It's not until perhaps our economic position is threatened in some way, or there's talks of having to get a new job, that we suddenly feel, oh, we've got the skills and also the determination to achieve more, as it were.
Yeah. So tell me, there are many, many, many strings to your bow, Adam, many, and in terms of what you do and what you can deliver and how you support the clients that you work with. Is there a specific, I hate doing that. Just say specific.
It's not an ocean.
I know, it's not the Pacific. Specific.
I'm the same. I'm saying I can't manage it.
There's been not enough caffeine in my body today.
An exact.
Anyway, I don't know. Is there a specific thing that you do within your business that you really, really, really love doing with your clients? Is there a part of your work that you really, you could get up tomorrow and do over and over and over again and be happy forevermore?
Yeah. So, and you guys know this. My journey has been up and down. So I've said yes to a lot of things. There's a lot of things I can do. I've had to come to the realization there's a lot of things that I can't do, both physically but also skill wise. And I think also when starting out, you say yes to everything because you need the work. That's been refined a lot more recently. The thing that really is one I could do all day long, is being able to creatively and objectively be able to help people with their position through the power of design, essentially. I can see what mistakes perhaps they're making in regards to their business, and look at creative ways to actually solve them, help people actually get on board and be inspired by their own business. My background is design, right, and graphic design and creativity, so I can pull from that and figure out where someone's at, where they should be, not only in my belief, but where they could actually be themselves, and help them get to that stage. I could put together a website, I could do a flyer. Yet they're all sort of things that graphic designers can do. Heck, you can get them done online these days. But it's being able to actually objectively sit down with someone and say, you could be here, or these are the mistakes that you're making. So I'm able to work alongside people, almost in some regards, give them an audit and say, like, look, these are the mistakes that have been made. We can help you get to here. I can help you get to there, sort of thing. That's the thing that I help most, essentially, is being able to objectively look at people and seeing what mistakes they're making creatively and how that can be solved for them in a creative way. I think people are too afraid that they're just going to have to throw money at it, or they're going to have to throw more hours than what they've got. And there's ways around that. There's creative solutions that can help that, essentially.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I have to say, Adam, one of the things you said once in one of your presentations has always stuck with me, and I still use, and that's how can you expect to kind of grow and dominate the world and connect with all these people if you don't know the name of your neighbor, right? Yes. Because it's that kind of, it's a mindset part of it, really, isn't it? You want to do all these things, and you want to kind of, but actually, why would you not talk to your neighbour? And I think it was one of those thoughts that we wear yellow on the school run. Say that again.
Over 70% of people don't know their neighbours' names.
Thank goodness.
Which is just crazy.
Clara. She's amazing. And the boys. What are the boys called? Gary and...
David.
Woof, passed.
We have a lovely... nearly 90-something-year-old neighbour who is a
machine.
She is a machine.
She is a machine.
She's a widow, but she's a farmer's wife, and every day she dons her tabard, and she does she pegs all the laundry out for her grown-up boys who still live with her, and she makes a roast dinner for lunch every single day. She's a doer. I love her.
The bit that gets me, and I think this is a generational thing, because I know quite a lot of people in the generations above me who may do a similar version of this, but she puts her washing on the line come rain or shine or snow or frost. The washing goes on the line, and I'm like, just and I understand what I'm saying, but I'm like, we've got a tumble dryer, we'll just shove it in the tumble dryer, because we're in storm Z of starting at A 2 days ago, as it's been at the moment.
It's that generation of where they had to get things done. There wasn't any help, there was no machines. I mean, I don't want to get off topic, but we've got so many things that can facilitate the easement of our lives, as it were. And I think we perhaps rely on those things. And again, it comes back to what I was saying about pushing and having that sort of push, as it were. It's not until you're faced with a difficult situation, perhaps for your neighbour in that sense, the difficult situation is finding the strength for getting up every single day and doing that.
And that's such a good point, Adam. And, it's a word that we're using a lot in our conversations at the moment, but it's this discipline word that keeps coming through, and the discipline to keep doing and keep striving and just keep doing the thing until it sticks and it becomes that you achieve that thing. It's not through consistency, it's not through sticking money at it, it is through doing the stuff and getting stuff done, when you like it or not. But sorry,
go for it.
Sorry, Adam.
I was just going to say.
Keep going, Adam.
I just want to jump in on that. But it's that discipline. The one thing I love about that is the making mistakes along the way. One thing is getting out there and doing those things. But one of the things that's really humbling in the sense of is the aspect of learning. And I feel that a lot of people, in a sense, they don't want to have to learn. They just want to be able to have to do. And that discipline brings that sort of learning curve and brings those results around.
And I think that's probably where you get that, and what I was kind of alluding to as I get to that is, especially the challenges in your business and our business at this point, is there are too many quick fixes, quick solutions to people who can throw some money at and hope it sticks, and it's usually the wrong solution. And actually, with the likes of yourself and other businesses like us in this kind of realm, really want like the desire, the drive, the purpose is to support, to help, to be of service. Going back to that service word, and it's bloody frustrating when you can see it in plain sight happening in front of you. Going, just do this. Let me help you. Stop throwing money at whatever you've seen out there. Who he may solve world peace in 7 days and give you 10 grand. That's
Well,
not.
they can't solve world peace in 7 days.
You know, too many. I mean, but it's
You would
too
think.
much of a.
Yeah.
But coming out to the clients, there it comes down to the drive, the determination, the vision, the support they need to have, that good network, and then that discipline to do the stuff.
Yeah. But I think part of the reason why they don't, sorry, I'll just jump in very quick.
Jump in, please.
It's a fear of it, essentially. And it's because they don't understand. It's not until someone creatively comes along and goes, here's A, B, C, D, this is what happened, sort of thing. You're too focused on D. Let's go back and go through these steps and see what can work for you the right way. And people were so scared of going back or not getting things done and things like that. It's that fear which inhibits them to be able to actually get the results that they want, I think.
Actually, Adam, absolutely. A, it's your episode, so please talk as much as you want. But B, I'm glad you interrupted because that's fed nicely into what I was thinking. So you talked about not having money and how it makes you want to do stuff. And we talked about the creative consultancy you can do and everything else. I used to work for Geek Squad.
No actual way.
Yeah,
anyone who's been watching or listened to every episode, he does crowbar this in most
No,
books.
I know, because I learned so much from it. That's why, and I'm quite happy sharing it. But the founder was a guy called Robert Stevens, and back in the States some time ago now, probably a couple of decades ago, if not longer. And he always said, really what you should do, this coming back into your fear and the money and marketing and everything else, you should cut your marketing department's budget. Because the second you remove that comfort zone, it will create the fear and they will get creative. And one of the things he used to do is where they started the company in Minneapolis, Minnesota, one of them. He put the Geek Squad logo in the bottom of their shoes because it was always snowing. So as they walked around, they were leaving Geek Squad logos in the snow all day, every day. This is why I talk about Geek Squad, because it was unbelievable, the stuff we were kind of in the culture and the history of the brand. And why would you not do that if you live in a snowy place and you've got a team of people?
I absolutely love, and this is where you are incredible at what you do as well, is that creativity, that creative thought process, to even have that as a little glimmer of something in your head that you could do. And I mean, do you find this with the businesses that you work with? They're so linear in the, hi, I have a small business, I have this page, I'm going to post on social media. I mean, why do we not have that spark of creativity to do things like the Geek Squad kind of footprints in the snow?
From the outset.
The likes of the big brands like, I don't know, John Lewis with their campaigns at Christmas and all the things that aren't actually
Are you saying John Lewis is a disruptor?
No, I'm not saying John Lewis is a disruptor.
I wasn't.
It's in December.
The types
in
of
December, that's
creative campaigns that these larger brands do, and just why do we not implement that as smaller businesses?
Audi's social media game is 100 out of 10.
Their puns are on the next level. I think Audi's a great one for that. I think we don't have the time because we're too busy in the sort of throes of life, as it were, to be creative. We lose our childlike, innocent, and perhaps mindset to think of things in a different perspective or in a different light, essentially. I mean, the amount of times you see a child paint a picture or draw something that is completely sideways from what you would linearly think that they're drawing, sort of thing, and it completely baffles you. I didn't even think of it that way. I didn't even see it that way. We lose that. We get into the harshness of reality, of bills and work and responsibilities and things like that. And I think we get into the responsibilities of life. And if we don't take a step back and be creative or think, why does that work that way? Could it work this way? I think people lose that, and small businesses completely skip that because it's that fear of need to get money in the door, need to get customers in the door, sort of thing, and they don't think about perhaps the creative ways that could inspire or manipulate an audience. I don't mean manipulate in a malicious kind of way, but manipulate them positively to be attracted to your business and services. And it's that thing of, you need to take a step back. You need to be childlike in your wonder. You need to kind of essentially go, does 2 + 2 = 5? And we don't, it doesn't, but we need to look at things that way. Could it? And then see how it can be formed in a way that's different to other people. I mean, one of the things, and you've seen this before when I've done presentations, one of the best things is the assumptions and opposite tasks. So you get everyone to write down 5 things that they think about your business. And you're going to find that they're all going to start to be the same answers collectively once you start getting people to objectively put what it is that you do, what it is that you offer, all the answers are going to be the same. And then think about how you can be complete opposite to the answers that they're written down. And until you think like that, you're just going to be linear like everyone else. You're just going to be on the track like everyone else, going around same track, same path every single day, doing the same things, and not finding the off-ramp to success, as it were. A little bit philosophical there.
No,
This is why we were so
with
excited
this.
to have Adam on, wasn't it? Because he always imparts so much knowledge.
He does. The off-ramp to success. I'm like, can we make that into a T-shirt?
So
I think
how
I'm
do you
probably watching
see?
some American football too much.
So the Touch Sky brand, then obviously, and this is why I always laugh with creatives as well, because you're so busy being creative for other people. We always kind of don't tend to our own garden. Yeah. How does the Touch Sky garden look in the future to you? How do you want that to look and feel and grow?
So one of the things that's going to be really important to me going forward, especially this year, later on this year, and going forward for as long as I've got, essentially, I'm going to be pulling back from the growth of where I was at. So if you go onto my website, Touch Sky Designs, you see some case studies of some large companies and organizations and things like that. That was me a couple of years ago when I was chasing that desire of success and wanting to work and deliver over the top. I still want to do that, but I want to do it more at a grassroots level. I physically can't go out and chase those big jobs that are worth thousands of pounds and hundreds of hours and things like that. It's going to do me in. It's going to do me in on a physical, but also a mental level as well. And so for me, I want to bring things down to a bit more grassroots. I want to start working on content that inspires and gives action points to people that they can easily implement themselves. I don't necessarily want to be the big agency person, because that's what I thought I did and I thought I wanted, but it's not going to serve me well. So I'm going to bring things back more down to earth, help the small business, help the little man, as it were, and be creative, essentially. I think there's so much time where I've been focused on trying to be successful in business. I haven't focused on being successful in being creative. And that's the core of my business. So bring things back down to earth in some regards. Think of the small picture rather than the big picture, as it were.
Think of the small picture. That's your title, Alan, right there. Alan.
Ooh, yes. Are we?
Yes.
You're building me up. Oh, well, I was too busy enjoying the chatting.
Not that I need to micromanage you or anything, but you moan that.
Daily.
But you know, when you are leading the episode and you have a clear end task to do and you're not doing it.
No, I was aware of my... Sorry, Adam, we're just having a domestic. I was aware of my end task, but I felt, a couple more questions.
Oh, feel free then, Alan.
No, that's fine. You've done it now. Look, Adam, it's been absolute amazing to have you on. We do have a final question. I want to thank you for sharing some of that stuff with us, right? That was really, really amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
I'm an open book. I think that's, just jump in there, I think that's one of the things that will help any other business is to go, look, I've got my own faults, I've got my own ups and downs as well. I can relate in some way. I think that's the best thing forward.
Adam, I think I will... sorry, Alan. Sorry, Alan.
No, say it.
I think that's it. And why we love these episodes so much and why we started this project, back when we started this in October 2023, is that I think it's really important to paint the picture that it's not always rosy. And I think if you're in small business, you probably get that already. You probably know that, the pay packet's not coming in every single month and challenges are there. But, we spend so much time trying to tell the world that we're okay, that... behind the scenes, and we all have that version of something not quite right behind the scenes, whether they share it or not, it can be a bit shit. And it is a bit...
Whoa, Chachi, pipe down.
It can be. And I think being brave enough, and I use brave loosely, being brave enough to say, actually, do you know what? This is my story. This is where I'm at right now. I am, I have been dealing with depression. I have had some quite significant life events happen to me, and I have struggled. I think it's really good to say that out loud, because I think other people out there will want to hear that too, because they're going through the same thing.
And vulnerability is a superpower at the end of the day.
It is.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
Right, can I ask the last question?
Yes, Alan, you can ask the last question.
So thank you once again, Adam. We are huge fans of yours. But one of the ones we always we like to end with this question is, so if you could go back to your younger self...
I mean, he's only 12 now.
No, I know he's only 12. But if you could go back to your younger self, what would you say? Arm round the shoulder, visiting like the ghost of Christmas's future, what would you be saying to your younger self?
I wouldn't necessarily go back all the way to my younger self. I'd say where I go back. I'll go back before I had my heart condition and before I realised what direction my life was going to go. Because I was at a place in life where I feel like I could take on the world. And I think perhaps my younger self probably felt that in some aspects. I'd go back there and I would tell myself to enjoy the little things. Because when the big, horrible things come, they just black out everything. And you miss all the little things. You miss the little moments of joy. And so I'll go back and tell myself, really spend time enjoying the little things. Enjoying the little wins, as it were. Like, you don't need to be at the top of the mountain to feel successful, sort of thing. It's the part of the journey where you're walking up with everybody else. That's the best bit of it. And I think I'd tell my younger self that, but I'd tell myself that as well before I had all this life-changing path, as it were. Enjoy the little things. That's what I can say on that.
I would just add, silly little things like we were joking before we hit record about you wearing your hoodie today, and you went, I have to wear it because my sister bought it for me. That's a silly, little, teeny tiny thing, but it's important because it reminds you that you're loved and that you have people who are around you who give you a gift. It's about drinking your cup of tea like we do beforehand, and not forgetting to drink the cup of tea and enjoying that moment too. There are so many little things that aren't even career related that we should just take time to stop and enjoy as well.
Well, it was funny. I was going through an old hard drive yesterday, and I saw your profile picture that you sent me, Alan, before doing the event, because I saw Whiskey and Work stuff. I was going through that and sorting out a few bits and pieces. And so one of the things where, like I said, I've been dealing with my life direction. I've been probably flirting with the past, as it were, and flirting with those things that happened before. And those times, albeit so brief, were so much fun. There were some good times that were enjoyed, and I think all of us probably we forget about those fun moments. I mean, the amount of times when I was perhaps a younger person in my drinking days, going out with friends, and you go out for a night out and you wouldn't have a plan, and it could be the best night out in the world, sort of thing. Those days, those nights were brilliant, sort of thing. And we get to a stage now where we have to plan and organise things, and we have to think about the big picture and the whole destination, and just enjoy the little things. It makes life so much better. It makes our careers so much better. Our businesses so much better. The amount of times I've had heart-to-hearts with one-on-one business people and things like that, that's been far more impactful than delivering a result in regards to their branding. I mean, that's been my work alone at home in front of the computer doing things. That's been fun, but it's when I actually get to present it and I go, okay, that's good. And then it's the conversation afterwards. That's where the real magic lies for me. But yeah, I'm waffling on. Enjoy the little things.
No, you're not. You're fine. You're
good. I love it. I mean, that's why I was giving Emily a hard time for wrapping me up, because I'm like, I want to hear Adam talk some more. Right, Adam, look, thank you so much. I've already said this.
Guys,
we've done our final question, but absolutely, we love you to bits. We love knowing you. We love hanging out with you.
We're very fortunate to have you as a friend, Adam. Thank you very much for your friendship.
And anyone who's brave enough to do a men-only networking a few years back, then they just get a high five. Just for the record, we missed this when we do. You also did a women's only, but people focused on the men only, and were in uproar because of it. But
the problem is, I had women asking me to do a women's one, and I was like, I don't think I can do this. I mean, I'm in enough heat as it is doing a men's only one. I'm not sure if I can lead a women's only one. That's a story for another day.
It absolutely is.
We'll do that.
Adam,
in that case, Adam. Were you about to wrap up? That was my wrap up. Adam, thank you so much. And thank you for listening, watching to Digital Circus Live. Come and find us on Instagram. Come and have a chat. And, we really appreciate you listening to this. Thanks so much, everyone.
See you later, guys. Bye.